It's an imbalance in faith sometimes, or I just don't know what to say about it. I would just definitely seek God on it 100%, and then get a clear direction. I know in my case, many years ago, they had me on psychotropics back in '99, and it wasn't for. It was a psychotropic for chronic tension headaches, some type of, I forgot what it was. It was a triptyline, something, amitriptyline. And then I was taking that every day, and it was whacking me out. It would put me in vortexes, and I was having these headaches, and it was bad. It's after I had died and was out of my body and was able to get back when I overdosed. And when I did get back in my body, I changed in my life completely, but there was repercussions. I got instantly would get these headaches. It was like the devil was kicking back at me. And I went through that. I was on triptyline, and they put me on the triptylines, and they were going to put me on Zolofts and all little types of stuff. And I was like, what the heck? I prayed to the Lord. I asked God about these pills, and I had a dream that night. And in the dream was I was laying in a prison cell, and I was laying next to a fake Jesus in the prison cell. And he reached over to me and tried to hand me those pills, those exact pills in the dream. And I said, no, you're not. I said, you're not the Lord. I said, you're a fake Lord. And that was the whole dream right there. But that was easy for me to interpret, because right then and there I meditated on it, asked the Holy Spirit, and that was it. The Lord was saying that is not of the Lord. So I got rid of all. I actually did have some type of withdrawal or something from that pill, too. It whacked me out. It put me into like a vortex. And I would get like, it made me depressed, that pill. But this is when I first, got, back in my body, and when I almost died, back in, that would have been January 1st, 2000.
When you
exactly when that happened.
You were sitting in a chair and overdosed. What had happened next? What did you see?
Well, I was living very ungodly, my whole life in the ministry. What happened with me is that very early, when I was 8, 9, 10 years old, my parents used to go to Charlie Holtzhauser's church, and my uncle would go there, Robert would go there, and a guy named Richie Potasek. He would take his motorcycle over there. And that's how I was introduced to the deliverance ministry. I would sit there as a kid and watch all this, and I never forgot it. It was very impacting to me. So, and he had tent meetings too. We'd go to tent meetings outside, and I would see demons screaming and terror and all types of things. And I never forgot that growing up. So, when this happened to me, that would have been January 1st, 2000. Later in life, I was living very ungodly, all types of ties to Mafia, porn centers, Cinderella Video, all types of mob breakdowns out here, Lucchese families, and it was just hell. I'm lucky I'm alive, actually. My other friend had to leave town. He's gone, but that whole situation got out of hand at that time, and then I was hanging out with one of the dancers, one of the strippers that night, and I was doing all types. She got me into worse drugs, and I was started to do all these weird drugs, and which I wasn't used to, and I was out of my body, completely out of my body. I was sitting there in a bubbled chair, ironically, down in her basement, which we used to call the pit, which later, after that, I had a prophetic word that the Lord said I'd have taken you out of the pit. And then I knew. I said, how'd you know? But that night, I can clearly see my body 100%, sweat on my head and everything, and I was just laying there. And at that point, there was I didn't have a name at that point. The demons, just for some reason, your name is useless. And the demons said, let Satan have one, like that. I don't know what that meant, but. And then a board appeared to me, and there was like a challenge from my soul at this point. There was two demons. One had wings, and all I could see was a hand come down on this board where there was a white, round, almost looked like a marble, which I interpreted as probably my soul or something, you know? Like there was some weird thing going on. Where am I going to hell? I mean, I can't get back into my body. Even though you can claw at your body and you can see it, you can't get in it. You're now out of it. And it was terrifying. I can't even express to you how insane this is. It's not like this world. It's a totally different level. And I heard no like that. And that's when the hand smashed that board in front of me. And at that moment, I felt an electric charge right under my rib cage, right there, like 500, 600 volts of electricity. I mean, it's unbelievable. I mean, it's power of electricity. Maybe that was shocking my heart back or something. I don't know what it was, but it was like electric charge. And at that point, I was able to get back in my body. And it was freaking me out, and at that point, I shook it off, and now I was deaf. I couldn't hear anything. I was completely 100% deaf. It was crazy. And I ran upstairs. I couldn't hear anything she was saying. She was on the phone, wishing people Happy New Year. And I knew that because prior to this happening, I went down there to do more drugs. I stole them from her. And I finally, after, I would say 45 minutes or so, sitting on the couch, you know, I got some of my hearing back. And this is the most freakiest thing ever. You know, and that's kind of, since I saw the demons, I remembered, you know, what happened when I saw Charlie Holtzhauser's many, many, many years ago. I said, my God, that's all real, what I was seeing. So that's when I went back to Charlie Holtzhauser's, literally like a week or two later after this incident. And that's when the headache started and everything got compounded. And then, of course, I moved into the deliverance ministry, you know, after that.
Is that when you went to the church and grabbed the Unworldly books?
I took all the Unworldly books off the bookshelf, which is right in the sanctuary.